Recording is on.
All right, good afternoon once again, everyone, and welcome on board. Welcome to today's section. I trust Ade is going to find as planned. Sharing my screen. Sh- All right. So yesterday we started the topic business and commercial fundamentals for product managers, and by now we should understand what the business and commercial side of things looks like in product management. I'll just quickly do a rundown of what we did yesterday. So we talked about what business and commercial fundamentals are, that they are principles that explain how a company will create value and how you deliver the value, and in return, how you capture value. That is how you are able to obtain money, how you're able to make your money and profit from what you have delivered to the market. For everything, I'll say money is usually the motivation. Money is it the external yeah, money is the external motivation. So yeah, money is very important. So that's why business and commercial fundamentals, it's very important in product management. For everything you're doing, you need to be able to get profits in return. So it means you are building a product that user loves and that can also sustain the business, because it's a different thing for you to build a product that they love, but if the product cannot sustain, the product will have to leave the market. So why we must understand this at product managers, because many products fails because it's not because they are poorly built, or because the implementation was bad, the delivery wasn't good enough. No, most of them fail because they don't make money. So business that don't make money will are bound to fail, because except maybe you are like extremely wealthy that you can maintain it, or you're running a charity organization, a not for profit organization that you you have funding for it. So except for that, if you are running a business, if the business does not make money, there is no sustainability in that market, in that business. So another one is costs are higher than the revenue. So when you are spending more but you are making less, then the product will fail. Your expenditure it's greater than the amount that you are getting. So this is like a a big problem. So you need to make more revenue in order to sustain your cost, as you have to make your cost as minimal as possible. So and another one is most products also fail because they don't support the company strategy. Your company strategy says this, your product strategy is saying another thing. So if they do not align, and that's why as product managers we need to align the business goal with the product goal. And I said, for every organization, especially if you find yourself in a new organization, always ask for what their mission statements, what their vision is, what their core values are. These will actually help you to shape what your product vision, your product strategy would look like, so that you don't go out of the way. So always note that a product that does not support the business will eventually be shut down, even when user likes it. So no matter how much you have adopters that uses your product, if it doesn't support the business goal, if it doesn't support the business, it will be shut down. It's the product supporting the business, the business supporting the product from inception. And when the business support the products, and the product is launched in the market, the product needs to start making money to support the business as well. So it's vice versa. All right, so we look at the core prints business concepts that every product manager should know. So we started with the value proposition, where I mentioned that value proposition is simply telling you what a product offers and whom it offers it for. So value proposition is what differentiates you from your competitors, like why you're trying to tell your users why they should use your products. That's your value proposition. Telling you that why should they choose your product uh over your competitors' products. That's your value proposition. And I gave us a formula yesterday that we said, oh, we help dash, that's we help our students to solve this problem by doing this. You include the solution. An example is we help students to save money by making savings automatic and visible. This this value proposition is for it's for a savings, it's an automatic saving application. And I also said as a yesterday, each and every one of us, for every of the beautiful product ideas that we have, we need to be able to have a value proposition for it. Every product needs to have value proposition, and that's what differentiates that product from its competitors' product, and also give an overview of what problem that product is trying to solve and to whom. Then we talked about business models. So we have different business models. Where I asked us to mention the business model that we would like to use for our products. We have a subscription. You can get your money. Your business model is explaining how you are going to make money. Oh, you have a beautiful product idea. How is this idea going to generate money for you? It's not all about building an application. What if you build your application? How are you going to get the money? So we have different models, because sometimes I often ask myself, like anything, if I have any idea of anybody comes to me with any idea, I'm like, okay, how are you going to make money from this? Because sometimes I think of some applications I've used and I'm like, how are these people making their money? It's not like I'm subscribing to use this product. It's not like I subscribe to their premium package, so it's free. So how do they make their money? So most times we might find ourselves in that situation where we are curious about how specific applications or products makes their money, and this is showing you the different models that products can use, or organizations or businesses can use to make their money. The first one is the subscription, that you can have your monthly or annual subscription, like your Netflix, like your GoTV, your DSTV. We have so many things that we do that we have to subscribe monthly or annually or by monthly, depending weekly. Then there's a transaction based, that's fee per transaction. This is often done in the fintech space, where each of your transactions you tax it, like you get funds from it. It can be flat fee, it can be percentage. So depending on what you want. So it can be transaction based, and an example is Paystack. Another one is the freemium. That's free basic. You're giving them free for the basic one, then you're allowing them to pay for the premium package. An example is Spotify, YouTube. So for an example is just every product that has the premium version, just like LinkedIn, there's a free version, there is a premium version. Then we have the marketplace. The marketplace model, this one is based on commission, and we have the likes of Uber, InDrive, Bolt, that uses the marketplace model. Then we have another one that is advertising, that's ads. A very good example is Google. When you're scrolling into Google, you see a lot of ads and all that. That's how they make their money. Then another one is licensing, usage rights. You obtain the license, then you start taxing people, or you start levying your users for the usage rights. And that's almost usually done in an enterprise software. So you have, for instance, you want to be the remittance that allows you to send money from You want to obtain a remittance license in Nigeria from the CBN. So now you obtain your remittance license from the CBN to be able to transact in Nigeria. Then you have another company or another organization that does not have a CBN license. So you want them to leverage on your own license. You want them to leverage on your license, so there is this usage right. So you tax them, you levy them based on this. Yeah, I've worked on a product before that has to do with licensing. So you other people leverages on the license to operate their own business. So you get your money from that as well. So all of this model does not mean you can only use one. You can use as many as possible depending on the one that suits your business. So you can use as many as possible for this. Just like Abraham said yesterday, for Google does not use only hard, they use the freemium as well. There's a subscription as well. So yeah, Google use different business models to operate. So yeah, going back, so this was where we stopped yesterday. Yeah, this was where we stopped yesterday, where I gave us a class activity that we should look at all our beautiful product ideas and choose a business model that works for it. Choose a business model that works for it and tell us why you choose that business model. Abraham has attempted that. Chikai, you did not attempt. Tofumi attempted. Is it Tofumi or Adidamola? Okay, so I'll just give us the time. I'll give us the time to think about it. For those of us that did not attempt this, and also for those of us that were not in class yesterday, but we are in class today, so we're able to. That's why I quickly did skimming through, walk through of what we did yesterday. So we should also start thinking of it in our head that, oh, for this product idea that I have, what business model best suits it. So I'll be coming back to this. All right, so let's start the business of the day. The third one, when it comes to revenue, when it comes to business model, is the revenue versus cost. This is on profit basics. Now, revenue is the money coming in. That's all the money you make. Probably you're using subscription, you people are paying for licensing, you're using the freemium. So this is the money that comes in for you. Now we have the cost, money going out, which includes, for instance, you're building a web application or a mobile application. It includes the salaries of all your developers, all the stakeholders, the operations, the marketing, their salaries, the server that you are using to host the service. If you are using if you have an office, you are using an office, you maintain and everything. So that is the cost. Everything that has to do with costs, everything that has to do with building of that product is your cost. So they include your engineering, like I said, your infrastructure. I mentioned that as well. Your marketing, your customer support. Yes, your customer support that attends to queries as well. It includes that cost that you incur. For every cost that you incur in the process of building a product, you have to note this down. And when you are using this business model, this is your formula. You minus your cost from your revenue to get your profit. So now, what decision can you make as a PM here? When you calculate all of your costs, oh, this is how much it takes. Now, how much are you making from this product? Does it cover your revenue? Or are you spending more? So now your job now as a product manager is now like for you to critically look at it. You critically look at it and say, ah, hmm, if cost is much, you can make a decision to increase your revenue or If cost is much, you can make a decision to reduce your cost. And if revenue is low, PMs can make decision to increase that revenue so that you make more and you spend less. You make more and you spend less. So that's it for the revenue versus cost. So it's just basically looking at how much am I making. So it's basically you looking at how much am I making, how much am I spending, am I really making profit? So that's another business model that can also be used. So it's based on the profit basis now. Now, commercial thinkings for PM. Now, we need to also think about commercials as PMs. What's the commercial thinking? What does it mean? Commercial thinking means you are asking questions. You ask yourself all of these questions. This future or this product that I am building, will this product or feature increase revenue? Okay, let's use an existing product for instance. You're working on an existing product and you have a new feature. So you just look at it and say, okay, I want to build a feature. Let's use WhatsApp for instance now. Let's use WhatsApp for instance. You want to build a video chat feature. You need to ask yourself questions. Share this feature that you are building, will it increase revenue? Will it reduce churn? We already know what churn is. Will it lower the operational cost? Does it support a pricing strategy? So you need to ask yourself all of these questions. Product managers don't own revenue directly, but they can heavily influence it. Now, organizations have marketing team that does all of these, like the operational, the marketing, and the business team. That's why you don't directly own it, but you can influence this with what you are building. As a product manager, you can definitely influence this with what you are building. So you need to look at features. For instance, you started your product with a free version and you want to add additional feature. That additional feature now, you don't want it to be on the basic package. You want it to be on the premium package. So you can just say, okay, oh, this one that is going to be on the what's it called? On the premium package. People are going to pay. That means that future that you are thinking about is going to increase revenue. Then why not go for it, because it's going to increase your revenue. But if it is a future that is not going to increase any revenue, just like you're doing dark and light mode, nothing changes. So you really need to think about it, that this thing, will it increase more revenue? For instance, you are doing like a referral program, you want to be a referral feature now. Of course, referral feature will increase revenue because people will refer people that will use the application. So it will definitely increase revenue. So you think of it like, whatever feature I'm building, is it going to increase? Are we going to make money from it? So it's very, very important that we think or we ask ourselves all these questions. They are very important when you want to when you are building your product. It's called commercial thinking. It's called commercial thinking. Like, okay, you don't just build you don't just build products. You build products that are viable, products that are feasible, products that will make money. Because of what is it that you build a product that cannot be sustained? It does not support the business, and at the end of the day, the product is taken out of the market. So it's very, very important that you build products that support the business goals that you make money from. Now, will it reduce churn? Is another thing. Will it reduce churn in the sense that will it reduce the loss of customers? Will it reduce, okay, many people that wants to use the applications and they drop off halfway, maybe because the onboarding process is too much. How many people cancel their subscription, maybe due to product dissatisfaction? So this future that you are now building, is it going to address that thing? Will it reduce number of people dropping off your platform? So you need to look at it as well. So if it's going to reduce churn, why not? You proceed to build it, because if it's reduced churn, that means your company will be making money because more people are going to be using it. More persons are going to be using the product. Then in return, you generate revenue. Will it lower operational cost? You want to build a future now. It's not like you're not thinking that, hey, this future that I want to build, is it, am I going to hire the best engineer, or do I need an additional resources? Do I need an additional resources to build this product? From that moment that you start thinking of, if you need an additional resources to build the future, then you don't even have to build this in the first place, because it's going to instead of, except it's going to generate more revenue, like high impact high effort. And that's for high impact high effort, like we said, you have to think about it. You have to think about it. So if it will lower operational cost, doesn't cost the company a lot of money, the operational cost, which is the opex, is going to reduce, then why not? For instance, now let me say example of features that will reduce operational costs. Thinking about it, an example of feature that will reduce an operational cost in a fintech app, yes, in a fintech app now, is a receipt feature. Your MVP does not have receipt feature. So oftentimes when beneficiaries don't receive their money, they come to your customer support that, please, we need proof of payment, we need proof of disbursement, all of those things. Now, it's costing more time for your customer support team. Imagine there is a downtime and a lot of customers are asking your support team to give them proof of payment, and they still have numerous emails, complaints, enquiries to talk about. As time goes on, the number of support team you are using might not be enough again. You might need to extend it by adding more support team members to help. That way your operational cost, your opex, you can call it operational cost, you can call it operational expenses, OPEX, has increased. Now if you now build a receipt feature on the mobile app that allows your customers to be able to download the receipts, they are able to view the receipt all by themselves. That way your support tickets will reduce. Like I said, success at some point for product managers are the reduced support tickets. That way, if you are having 5 support team before, your support team will reduce to like maybe 3. That way your operational expenses is being lowered. So that's an example of a feature that can reduce your operational expenses. I don't know, do we have anybody that has another example of a future. You can look at it from your product's point of view, from your product's idea, anyone that will reduce operational costs. Anyone, can anyone give us an example?
So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, actually.
So I don't know if this one works, but there are some websites that introduce chatbot like AI chatbot.
Hmm.
Does that work? Like a
Yes, it
software for
works.
business.
It works because the AI chatbox will attend to how will I put it, basic questions. Now they will now
Basic
transfer you to an
queries.
agent when the issue is kind of complicated and they cannot handle.
Yeah.
That way it limits your users to start bombarding your customer support with questions that are frequently asked questions that the chatbot can actually answer them. Yes, that works. That's a good example too. That works. Thank you. Any other person, please? Abraham. Sofumi, Adedamola, are you following me? Adedamola, Sofumi, and Abraham, I've not heard your voice today. Okay, Adedamola. So can you cite an example? Okay, let's proceed. We'll come back to that. We have two things that we are still to do. Adedamola and Tofumi. The value proposition and this. We'll come back to that. So yes, that kind of future now. Those two examples are good ones, and they're going to lower your operational expenses. Now, you also need to look at, does it support your pricing strategy? Now, if your pricing strategy is monthly subscription or annual subscription now, and you are now trying to like, okay, introduce a future, and your pricing strategy, the only pricing strategy you are using, it's the subscription feature, and you are trying to introduce a feature that will allow for the marketplace model, then you need to think about it like, okay, does this really support our pricing strategy as a business? And for our pricing strategy, are we willing to like adjust? Are we willing to adjust? Are we willing to add the marketplace model to it? So you need to think about it, and that's why you have to work cross functional, because you don't really directly own the revenue, but you work with the team that are in charge of the revenue to influence, because you can influence it, you can heavily influence it. So it's very important that you work with them. So then we have the pricing basics. So pricing should answer how much are users willing to pay for value. That's another important question. Hmm. It's just like you want to offer a future, or you want to offer a service, or you're giving out a product. You need to understand, you need to like be able to answer that questions. Are users really to pay for the value you want to give them? You want to give them top notch value. Look at your target audience. Let's use the snap cook feature for instance. Your target audience are students and young people. So how can they pay? How much do you think those students are willing to pay for the value you want to give them? Like Abraham said yesterday, these are students and is looking at ad, because they don't students really don't have money to start paying for subscriptions and all that. So you need to really look at it. You don't have to go and give them a pricing that they cannot pay for. Look at your target audience and know how much they are really willing to pay for the value you are giving them. So you need to really know how much they are willing to pay for that value that you are giving them. So basic pricing approaches, you can look at the cost based approach. Cost based approach, that okay, what's the cost of this product? The cost of the product I'm offering them now. Okay, this is the cost I've spent. Okay, I incurred so amount of cost in the process of this business, or in the process of working on this product. How much am I willing to give to my customers, to my users, to use this product? So now this is going to be like the cost. You are using your pricing based on the cost that you have incurred in producing or in bringing that product to fulfillment. So you now tax, or you levy, or you do your pricing around the cost that you have incurred, after you must have calculated, okay, this is how much Amazon is collecting for me to host my server. Okay, this is how much I'm going to be paying my engineering. This is the cost of maintenance. So okay, based on this, let me do the pricing to be this. So that's a cost-based pricing. So you're ensuring that okay, it's based on the cost that you're going to be using to run the application. For instance, if it's an application now, let me give an instance. Like there's this product that we worked on, and okay, when we wanted to do the pricing, we had to like sit down and be like, how much how much is it going? Now we're not even thinking of what we've used to build it anyways. We're now looking at going forward now. How much are we going to be using to host the server monthly? Okay, because it's a fintech hub, how much are other partners, like the downstream partners, the payout partners, how much are they going to be collecting per transaction? Okay, so for customer support that is going to be there to monitor all of the transactions and also enquiries, how much are they going to receive that staff salary? So now think of all of these things and be like, oh, okay, and this is how much we can give for this. How much is platform maintenance fee that this platform is going to be charging us for using their platform? So we think of all of that and be like, okay, because of all of this, then let's structure our pricing uh based on the cost going forward. So another one now is the value based approach. Remember that the first one is the cost. Now this one is the value. That's why the questions at the beginning was like, how much, how much are users or customers willing to pay for the value you want to give them? So this one now is the value based approach. You are looking at it from the perspective that, okay, this is the value I am offering them, and I want to make my pricing relating to the value, because I'm offering them top notch value, or this value I'm offering them is exceptional, it's important. I don't want to do it based on cost. I want to do it based on the value that I am offering these customers. So yeah, you just look at, okay, since you're going to be working based on value now, you price the product based on how much value the customers will believe that they are getting, not your own cost now. Remember, the first one is your own cost. The second one, which is value based, is not like, ah, based on the value they will be getting. Oh, they'll be getting licensing. Okay, they'll be getting free transfer. What am I even saying? Free transfer. Okay. If it is a fintech app, for instance, now, okay, they get option to monitor. Let's use like Opay for instance. They get options to monitor other banks' network to know which one has network at that point in time. So like they're getting a lot of value. So you're now looking at it like, okay, I'm not going to make it based on my own cost. It's going to be based on the perceived value to the customer, the value that the customer perceive that they're going to have. Let's do an example now. Example like, you do a budgeting app that saves users 50,000 naira monthly. Now the app costs only 3,000 naira to run per user. For a user to run the app is 3,000 naira o. Your own cost now, if it is cost base, is 3,000 naira, but the app will save the user 50,000 naira monthly. That's the value now. Now you now look at it like, because this app will save customers 50,000 naira, user, if you tell users to pay 10,000 naira, even 20,000 naira, they will be able to pay it because of the value. So you just look at it like, okay, because this is going to be saving them this, why not make my pricing this? Let's use our typical short last for instance. Short last will take you from mainland, oh, the normal mainland, not even which one is the normal mainland, from somewhere like Ijaye now to the island to VI for 3,000 naira. Now looking at it, if you are following, and that 3,000 naira is if you are following their small bus, that's the highest bus, the Toyota highest, which is, I think, is about 18 passengers. Yeah. If you are even using the coastal bus, is lesser. I think that one is 2,000 naira. Now the cost of fuel for 18 persons, if they calculate the cost of fuel now that the vehicle is going to use to transport from VI to Ijaye, or from Ijaye to VI, and the cost of fuel is 50,000 naira, let's say for instance now, Then how much are they going to pay the driver? Depending if the drivers are monthly, if it is based on trip. So if they are paying their driver 10,000 naira per trip, for instance, they will calculate it. That's 60,000 naira. Okay, cost of maintaining. Maybe they will want to buy engine oil and the likes. My selling us 5,000 naira. That's 65,000 naira. Now that 65,000 naira now they now divide it by 18. Now like okay, each person, let's say for instance, each person will have to pay for 5,000. Okay, and because they will need to make profit too, they can also okay 6,000 naira per person. That one is per cost. Your pricing is based on per cost. Now another one will now be like, if they want to use the value based approach now, they now be like okay, if you want to enter from Ijaye to Oshodi normal commercial bus, you enter it 1,000 naira for instance. It's cheaper than that anyways. So from Oshodi to VI, it's even expensive these days. From Oshodi to VI is 2,000 naira now. Yeah, 2,000 naira. So that's 3,000 naira. Now customers will pay 3,000 naira with the normal usual hustle bus, commercial bus. If they now tell you to pay 2,000 naira, you will gladly pay because you are saving 1,000 naira. So that's the value. You'll be like, the value you are going to get. Now, look at the convenience. If you are sorry, okay, let's even look at it this way. You want to book ride from Ijaye to VI, Ijaye to VI, 15,000 naira. But Shortlast is telling you to come and pay 3,000 naira. You are saving 12,000 naira. So because you are saving 12,000 naira now, if Shortlast asks you to come and pay 3 or even 5,000 naira, you will want to pay. That's the value based approach, because that way you will save a certain amount of money. So you are using this based on the perceived value that the customer will get. So they will be happy to pay. Customer will be happy to pay 3,000 naira looking at the convenience, because at the end of the day they will even end up saving a particular or a certain amount of money. So that's for the value based approach. All right, let's look at the competitors based pricing now. When you look at competitors based pricing, just like the name implies, is you are setting your price based on what your competitor are charging. Tomorrow now you now want to go and do your own short last. You want to do a competitor product with short last is charging 3k for small bus to island from mainland. You now look at your competitors pricing, look at okay, what is short last giving, what is another competitors app giving. You can now do your own to be slightly higher or lower depending. So you make your own market average. So for instance now, if similar app now is charging 5,000 naira, or similar vehicles are charging like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 naira, you can make your own in the middle. You can make your own 6,000 naira. E.g., you are using Netflix. You are using Netflix. I think there is one. I've forgotten the name too, sha. So if Netflix is charging 8,000 naira, another one is charging 9,000, another one is charging 10,000. You can just charge 9,000. Just make your own average. Is that is slightly cheaper or slightly higher. In order for you to stay competitive, it's always advisable that you make it average. you make it average. So this kind of pricing works when you have a crowded market. When you have markets with similar products everywhere. When you have your customers that are price sensitive, customers that they are usually after the price, like, this one is offering this one is offering this, let me look for the slightly cheaper ones. So it works very well. You will derive results if you have similar products and your customers are price sensitive. They want to go for the one that is not too high, not too low. If it is too low now, for instance, another competitors are saying that 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. You now say that your own is 2,000 naira. You might not sell low, because they'll be looking like, what is the authenticity of this one that is saying 2,000 naira? Shey this one will go to this person is not even paying anything at all. Are you sure they are not fraudsters? So in as much as you're trying to be market competitive, like you want to stay in the market and be competitive enough, you don't need to really put your pricing to be too low. When products are prices are too low, users will often like doubt or compromise on the value that that product will give to the market. So that way it's easy for you to understand the market expectation uh if you are using competitive pricing approach. And it also helps you to reduce your pricing risks, and it helps you to stay competitive. But the downside of this kind of approach is it will help you to ignore your own cost. Imagine you are spending more, but because you want to stay competitive, your competitors are it happens to me sha. Like, there's this product that we worked on and we tried to, like, okay, when we want to do the pricing, we're not looking like competitors are charging this. Our competitors, where are they seeing this their pricing? Like, you will see competitors pricing, it will be shocking. Imagine your payout partner is charging you maybe 0.10 cents now. You now see competitors pricing, they are putting their own margin is like 0.5. They're not like, where are these people even seeing their own? Your own costs that you are even going to incur, if you had it, it is even higher compared to what competitors are giving. So these things will make you ignore your own cost. But as a smart product manager, what are you going to do in this case? In the case whereby, for instance, now you are trying to you want to do a product, you are building a product, your competitor pricing is too relatively cheaper to what other people, or to what your own cost is. You have to look for how to reduce cost. That's why I said in the previous slide that a a product manager has a very high influence on the pricing. You have to reduce your cost. How do you reduce your cost? Let me give you a practical example of what I did then during our own time with the marketing and the operations team. Now, competitors are giving us cheaper prices. Our own cost is being ignored. If we go for this pricing, we might end up being in debt. In fact, it's not even that we might, it will. So what did we have to do then? We have to look at, okay, if our payout partner is collecting this amount, that means it's high. Let's look for cheaper ones. Let's look for other competitors. So we started outsourcing for other payout partners that are going to help us settle funds into customers' account. They're not going to collect that much from us. Those that all of them have their own different pricing basis, or some is per transaction, so depending. So we have to start sourcing for those ones that the price will be cheaper, or maybe those ones that take into cognizance the transaction uh transaction value, or the number of transactions that you are doing, the volume now. So it's really made a lot of sense to us when we now start seeing cheaper competitors, like, oh, okay, we can go for this. So that's what you can just do in that case. Just try to reduce your cost if your competitors' costs are kind of higher than your own and you want to stay competitive. You just have to reduce it. So that's one thing about that. And it can even it can even cause you to ignore your own value, your unique value. Now imagine you are offering a lot of value for the customer o, but you want to go and use competitors pricing approach. You have to ignore your own value, your unique value, that this your own application is different from others, so you have to ignore that. You have to ignore that. Then it can also lead to yes, sorry, I apologize. It can also lead to price wars. price wars. Price wars in the sense that this one is collecting 6,000 naira, this one is collecting 5,000 naira. You want to stay competitive. It's not easy. So you want to stay competitive. You have to like it's going to like tomorrow now your computer can see that eh because your competitor can see that because you now say that you want to be doing your own 6,000 naira. Me too, I will reduce my competitor that was formerly doing 5,000 naira before can now reduce further to 4,000 naira. The one doing 5,000 can say 3,000. So that way it will lead to like how do I put it now? It's going to be like price wars. It's going to be price war. So that's one thing about that. And see an example I cited there. A fintech app may charge 100 naira per transfer, 1% transaction fee, then monthly premium plan. And this also goes to what I said yesterday. Doesn't mean that because you are picking one, doesn't mean you will just stick to one. You can use as many as possible. Your pricing basis can be more than one. The same thing with the models that we talked about yesterday. You cannot say because I'm using monthly subscription, I don't want to use premium. You can use everything in as much as it works for you. You can use every. So look at this one now. They are charging per transfer. They are also charging 1% transaction fee. They are charging monthly premium plan. So you can have subscription, they can still do plan, you can still charge per transaction. So it's depending on the one you want. Now we have the unit economics. The unit economics asks this question: do we make money on each customer? So when you think of this unit economics, you think of two important things. There are two key things that you need to think about here, and that's the CAC and the LTV. The CAC is cost to acquire a customer. It's already how will I put it now? Well defined. The cost that it takes you to acquire a customer. So you look at okay, how much how much does it even take you to acquire this customer? Then you look at it. Okay, for each of the customers, it takes me 2 naira, it takes me 1 naira. So just think of like everything that it takes you to acquire that customer. So if it's taking you 5 naira to acquire a customer, then you can now do your pricing based on how much each customer is going to be paying or how much revenue you are going to be getting Now cost to acquire a customer now, cost to acquire a customer can be based on how much you spend on marketing before you are able to get that customer o. You think of that as well. You think of that as well. After everything, okay, how much do you get in return? Then let's go to the second key thing, which is the lifetime value of a customer. Now you've noted how much it's going to take you to get this customer, from your marketing to when the person sign up to the main ten ance of that customer. Then you now go to the lifetime value. Revenue is simply saying that revenue that that customer, you are going to get from that customer, the revenue that you are going to get from that customer. So you look at that as well, like, oh, okay, if this customer comes on board now, how much are you going to get from that customer? So now what this is now trying to say is, you now ask your question, you ask yourself as product managers that, oh, am I making more money from customers than how much I got to get these customers? Are you making more money from them than how much you get uh to get them? So if you spend 1 naira to get a new customer, how much is the entire money that you are going to get from that customer? So look at this now. So this is the rule that is going to guide you. The rule is LTV should be greater than CAC. The lifetime value of a customer should be greater than the cost of acquiring that customer. Let's use the normal traditional bank for instance now. You see banking marketing team, they will work up and down to ensure that they get customers, market women, everybody open account. Now imagine you pay your marketers 50,000 naira to get 5 new customers in a month. Not even five new care. Let's just say example now. Those traditional banks, they will pay marketers, let's say for instance 50,000 naira in a month, and they'll give their marketing team targets for each of your each person. You have a target of bring in 50 customers in a month. That's your monthly target. If you don't meet your target, they fire you. Now imagine, split that 50,000 naira that you use. That's like 1,000 naira per customer. So for customer, each of the customer now, the cost that you use to acquire that customer is 1,000 naira for instance. Then maybe you pay the person that will open the account in the banking hall too. Let's say per customer, that one too is like 1,000 naira. The account is open. Now the lifetime value of that customer now, not all customers, some customers will be, but you need to just like on an average now. The lifetime value of that customer, how much you are going to get if that customer open an account with you. Minimum balance for banks that still have minimum balance that will be there, which they can still use to run other things. Transaction charges that you get from that customer, monthly main ten ance fee. So you now calculate everything So if you calculate everything, that's the lifetime value. Imagine some customers sef that open account, they will end up putting millions of naira in their accounts. I profile persons, they end up putting a lot of money in their accounts, hereby generating revenue for the bank. Now the lifetime value of that customer now